still praying. I know I said I would I'll keep everybody updated with what's happening. I know right now we're waiting. So basically the judge didn't do, I guess, a written order. So we're just waiting, and that order can come any minute, or it could come tomorrow. I don't know. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting. So everybody just keep praying, keep having faith. Oh, Tessa, stop. I've been crying too. It's been a long time coming, you know.
You saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
The part where he's saying that someone just shut the car up and was trying to shoot him. So I asked him if he was okay, where he was, and he's like, there's a car coming behind him, like hiding. He was like, there's some, there's some, I think they're still out here or something. So I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm okay. I said, well, where are Sack and Juvie? And he said, I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're...
The first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what was used.
Okay.
Here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. Just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. Guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found
for his lives. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car, two bodies, car riddled with. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he has discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of hot residue and two component particles. And the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of hot residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was hot residue present on the hands.
I would assume
But
that he spent a lot of money on lawyers. Like an amount that would probably...
That kid spent a lot of money on a lot of things that shouldn't have been spent on.
Really? Like what else?
And cars, jewelry. And he's not even out to wear the jewelry. I'm like, why are you buying jewelry? You're not here to wear the jewelry.
No, definitely lawyers are probably the best thing you can spend.
That's what bro. But he's good with lawyers, bro. Like, money ain't an issue for lawyers. Like, he's fine, but it's just like, there was a lot of stuff that should have went to lawyers that he didn't spend on lawyers. And I'm like, bro, And now it's like he don't even want to change.
As Melly's lawyers submitted his new bond release package, the question now is whether it's strong enough to earn his release. In the documents, Melly's legal team proposed a bond, though they didn't specify the amount, which would be covered by his record label 300 Entertainment. If the court grants the bond, they promise the judge that Melly would remain under house arrest, wear an ankle monitor, and be supervised by round-the-clock private security to ensure compliance. The proposal was so compelling that even a fellow rapper reacted by saying, "That boy Melly's coming home, I feel it." But what really stands out is the physical evidence included in the package, which could tip the scales in Melly's favor. One major piece is an interview with Melly's mother, where she detailed the inhumane conditions he's facing in jail treatment that could be considered illegal.
You saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
They then presented evidence from the original trial that the new judge hadn't previously seen. This included proof that contradicts the federal claim that Melly committed the crime inside the Jeep. GPS data shows that YNW Melly was actually seen sprinting down the street and hiding in a bush. His exact location was tracked by AT&T through the cell phone that was in his jeans pocket at the time.
The part where he's saying that someone just shot the car up and was trying to shoot him. So I asked him if he was okay, where he was, and he's like, "There's a car coming behind him, like hiding." He was like, "There's some, yeah." He's like, "Yeah, there's some. I think they're still out here or something." So I'm like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "I'm okay." I said, "Well, where are Sack and Juvie?" And he said, "I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're..."
To support the claim that it was actually a drive-by shooting, the original trial revealed that no firearm was ever recovered at the scene. This strongly suggests that the incident could have been a drive-by, with the shooter fleeing the scene and taking the weapon with...
The first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what firearm was used.
Okay.
With the bond release package looking so strong, prosecutors became worried it might actually be approved. That's when they made a concerning move. According to reports, a no communication order was filed in the YNW Melly trial. This order strictly prohibits any contact between Melly and Bortland, no conversations, no shared legal counsel, just complete silence. Prosecutors appear to be using this tactic to pressure Bortland into cooperating by planning to try both him and Melly together in the upcoming trial. That means they'll be sitting side by side in court as evidence is presented allegedly linking them both to the crime.
You hear, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It's just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found.
This was the critical mistake prosecutors made during the first trial, not having both defendants sit side by side. If Bortland knows he didn't commit the crime, it becomes incredibly difficult for him to sit there in court and silently accept a life sentence. That pressure could push him to turn on Melly, and that's exactly what the prosecutors are counting on. Their strategy appears deliberate, especially considering that in the original trial, YNW Melly's lawyers were attempting to shift the blame onto Bortland.
For his lives. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car, two bodies, car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry.
During the trial, Melly's own lawyer argued that it was Bortland who had been lying to federal investigators and not Melly. The defense pointed out that Bortland was the one who had gunpowder residue on his hands. To strengthen their case, they even brought in a forensic scientist who had examined the victims and was able to provide detailed testimony confirming the presence of residue on Bortland.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of heart residue and two component particles, and the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of heart residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was heart residue present on the hands.
What many people didn't realize is that Bortland wasn't happy about how things were unfolding. After Melly's mistrial was declared, reports noted that Bortland posted a cryptic message on social media the very same day. The tweet read, "Mind games don't work on people like me," followed by a handshake emoji, almost as if he was signaling that he had accepted a deal. This is where the situation becomes even more unsettling. If Bortland is seated next to Melly in the next trial, federal prosecutors can use Bortland's own interrogation from the night of the crime. In that footage, he was caught lying to police, clearly trying to protect his best friend Melly.
Tell me what happened.
Man, I was playing music, getting off the exit. I was already getting sleepy, almost home. You know what I'm saying? And like, just out of nowhere, like, I just heard, you know what I'm saying? And I ducked down, you know what I'm saying, in the car.
Hey, well, Ashley,
and I almost crashed the car.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the studio, from Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale studio. Which way did you take?
I took I-75, 595 to
75. Then you took 75.
It quickly became clear to the officers that Bortland's story wasn't adding up. This was all happening on the very night of the crime, and Bortland was sitting there trying to act confident, attempting to make his version of events sound believable so that neither he nor Melly would get caught in a lie. But the act didn't hold up for long. Bortland was eventually caught in that lie.
Here's the hard part where we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area, and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walk it out. They didn't find as much as 1 shell casing. They didn't find 1 piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing to what you said adds up. And it's hard.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, that's the class.
I mean, for whatever reason, your 2 friends, are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These my like,
these your 2, I'm assuming close friends.
Yeah, we got.
And you're doing them an inservice by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth, sir. I don't like. How? What do you want?
How do you make shell casings disappear?
I don't know. How can I tell you about a shell case?
This is where the interrogation started to go downhill. Bortland began to lose his composure as the officers clearly weren't buying his version of the events. His frustration started to show, and you could see the pressure getting to him. He was sweating, growing visibly anxious, and clearly just wanted to get out of that interrogation room as fast as possible.
I told y'all the story, and that's it, bro. I don't even talk about it no more. Like, cause I told y'all. Like, I don't know.
Okay, just so you know, all right, because you're saying, well, I don't want to talk anymore. There's going to be a lot more questions. There's, and we're not trying to piss you off. The thing is, we don't know your friends.
Yeah.
So the reason we have to ask all these questions, because the more we know about your friends, your lifestyle, your friend's lifestyle, your friends, his friends, and the circumstances surrounding today, the more, the easier it's going to be for us to try and solve this.
At this stage of an interrogation, it's common for a suspect to shut down, refusing to talk, and showing no interest in continuing the conversation. When that happens, it becomes the officer's job to reset the tone and rebuild some level of trust in order to keep the suspect talking. The goal is to ask questions in a way that might cause the suspect to either slip up and change parts of their original story, or accidentally reveal too much. So the officer would steer the conversation towards specific details, asking about what happened in the moment during the alleged drive-by. How was he driving? Did he crash into anything? Did he drop any items? These questions are meant to catch the suspect off guard and test the consistency of his story.
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's gotta be some evidence there. There's gonna be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here from when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's gonna be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's gonna be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's gonna be evidence over there. Okay, right now, there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
With the clock ticking and their allowed interrogation time running out, the officer decided to get straight to the point. Looking Bortlen in the eye, he asked directly, "If you knew who did this, would you tell me?"
By just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS. Okay, and it's a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay, you may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't want to be a part of that. I wouldn't want to be.
At that critical moment, Bortlen didn't give a clear yes or no answer. In fact, he didn't say anything at all. Instead, he simply shook his head no, and that silence was important. If YNW Melly had committed the crime, Bortlen would almost certainly know, and verbally denying it might have caused his voice to crack or shift in pitch. Something that often happens when someone is lying under pressure. That kind of vocal change could have tipped off the officer that Bortlen was hiding something. But the situation only gets more complicated from here. What many people don't know is that the judge struck a deal with Melly's ex-girlfriend, Mariah Hamilton. She had been living outside the United States ever since before Melly's original trial and was supposed to testify against him, but she never showed up. Because of that, she became a wanted fugitive, and authorities had been searching for her for years.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
The judge offered Mariah a deal. If she agreed to testify against Melly, she would be released from jail. Mariah accepted without hesitation, devastating news for YNW Melly. After her release, she posted on Facebook, writing, "And to my village, thank you. To my village, I love you all so much. God's plan, not mine." What makes this so alarming is that investigators uncovered disturbing evidence in Mariah's iCloud account evidence suggesting that Melly may have pressured or intimidated her into not testifying during the original trial. This kind of action is legally considered witness tampering, a serious crime that carries a potential life sentence on its own, regardless of whether Melly was actually responsible for the deaths of Sack Chaser and Juvie.
Filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
The witness tampering case would be handled separately from Melly's ongoing case involving the deaths of Sack Chaser and Juvie. Since the original trial ended in a mistrial, there's still a real possibility that Melly could be found not guilty in their deaths. However, depending on what investigators find in Mariah's iCloud account, he could still be convicted of witness tampering, a charge that alone could carry a life sentence. Things have only gotten more intense behind bars. As a result of the investigation, Melly's access to jail phones has been completely cut off. He hasn't been allowed to make a single call in months. The situation became so serious that Jamie King went public, doing an interview where she called out the county jail for refusing to let him use the phone.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
If the evidence turns out to be true that YNW Melly was using the jail phone to commit witness tampering, that would explain why his phone privileges were cut off completely. The most alarming part is that authorities almost certainly have concrete evidence. They wouldn't revoke his phone access based on just a suspicion. Doing so without proof could lead to a major lawsuit, something the jail would never risk. Yet despite all of this, the judge was still open to the possibility of releasing Melly. In fact, the judge invited him to the courtroom to speak on the specifics directly.
The Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly account says what?
After that, SHHHH.
The judge then gave prosecutors one final opportunity to present evidence explaining why Melly should remain behind bars. What they revealed could be devastating. They began with data from Melly's phone showing that just hours after the crime, he sent a text message that appeared to be an admission of guilt.
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! The dog still turned, regardless of what happened. You already know.